I highly doubt that there'll be anyone watching this who isn't already an intimate friend. So hi Sam. Another very, very slim off chance that anybody else decides to get in on this, then hi also. My name is Kat. I've been meaning to vlog for a while now, mainly because we're in lockdown, and even before this a lot of my nearest and dearest have gone back home to pursue other dreams, so I miss them very dearly, and I think they miss me enough to ask me to document my daily life for them. Not sure what level of missing that is, but yeah. Anyway, the reason I'm really starting doing this now is because as of today, I started my ADHD treatment plan for the first time. So this is my first time getting properly diagnosed, getting, proper treatment from a psychiatrist, and yeah, she told me to journal, and I think it'd also be a good idea to log it here so that I don't have to write because my wrists are screwed up from playing games during lockdown too much. So yeah, day one, doing pretty good so far. Appetite normal, no dry mouth that I can think of. Probably should be drinking more water because apparently it does make you more prone to dehydration, so that's one thing I should watch out for. It remains to be seen. I haven't really done anything too strenuous, I haven't tried to read a book or anything. As of right now, Melbourne is back in lockdown, so that's super fun and exciting. I guess it's not super different from how I was living before. Before I was I had dinner with my family and saw a couple of friends one-on-one, but I guess that's now no longer viable, which is fine, whatever needs to happen for everyone or as many people as possible to be safe. But it does suck because when lockdown first started, I think within a month, basically, I decided I really needed to move out of my house. And I'm really glad I did in a way, because I think I would have gone full crazy living where I was living before. So now I've moved up by myself, so I live in a studio. And yeah, it's super teeny. It's just me going insane slowly. So I guess this is good because then I can hear the sound of my own voice. But it's for a purpose. There is an eventual end user / audience who will be receiving this, so I'm not just talking gratuitously to myself for no reason. Wow, I feel like the dose I took was not high enough. Something to note. I think when you're filming yourself live, it really gives you a chance to capture exactly how well you can follow a train of thought through to fruition, rather than I don't even know what I'm talking about. Just you kind of go all over the place. I'm going crazy in here. There's just so much stuff in here. Actually not that much stuff. It's just some noisy little things pinging around. It's the emptier a piggy bank, the louder it rattles. I feel like that's my brain. Super noisy, but actually nothing of substance in there. I feel like my brain spins so fast and my mouth can't keep up. But I also talk fast, and everything just comes out super, super fast. It's just all happening at once. And I've been relatively lucky in that I feel like generally my brain spins fast enough that even if I'm not thinking before I speak, there's enough thought preceding the speech that something is coming out that's vaguely cogent. Wow, and that entire last 30 seconds just, negated my entire point. I just have no filter. It all just comes out, gushing out at once. And there's so many times I've just sort of slapped myself on the wrist or really just kind of gone, oh, I can't believe I said that. I just really, really regret saying that thing. Why do I open my mouth? Why do I have to always just fly at the handle and say the first thing that comes to mind? Why can't I just shut up? There's literally nothing interesting that I ever have to say. I could just shut up and no one would be lacking anything, and yet I never shut up. So now's probably a good time to wonder to what degree my neighbor can actually hear every single word that I say in here, because the walls are really thin. I can hear basically everything going on, and either I never hear her talking or she never speaks. I'm not sure which is which, but I think sometimes she has her partner over, or maybe they live together. Unsure. again, it's been weird moving in during lockdown because you can't really get a sense of your neighbors. Yeah, living here is a compromise, but it beats living in a house with like 4 other people, 3 cats, a lizard, and a dog. Yeah. I feel like my brain is completely empty. It's a really bizarre feeling. It's like if I'm not doing something, there's actually nothing going on in my brain. I don't even understand this feeling because usually my brain's got like 5 billion things going on at once if I'm not physically doing anything. Like I'm not present here because my brain is like so full. But now, like if I'm just like sitting, like there's nothing in my brain. Like my brain's just like smooth and empty. Dude, is this how normal people are? Like, is this what neurotypical people experience? Like, is your brain just empty? Like, you have to like actually actively be thinking of something for you to be thinking of something? Or like if I'm doing that thing, I'm thinking about doing that thing so I can focus on that thing. I'm not thinking of 5 billion things. So, like nothing's coming to me. Like nothing comes to me. There's no like, not like, you know, divine inspiration or like some kind of a creative epiphany, but you know, usually my brain's going like so many things at once, so like lots of things are just happening in there. But now like there's nothing there. Like I can just sit and... Is this mindfulness? This is like a really unanticipated side effect. I don't know if it's good or bad because wow, there just really is nothing there. Like, okay, let's think of something. Oh my god. My brain is so calm. Like I usually feel like I've like got a brain full of bees. Dude, I'm like losing my shit. This is kind of creepy. Oh my god. It's so peaceful in here. I'm kind of reeling because usually my brain is like being eaten alive by like ants or something. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm filming this on my phone, but I really want to Google like go on Reddit or something and be like, do you feel like your brain is empty? Hold on, wait, I'll go on my iPad. Brain empty Dex Reddit. Brain empty axolotls. What? My brain is quiet. That's something I should Google. My mind is quiet after mids. Not sure how I feel. It's like a part of... There are no never-ending thoughts anymore. It's like a part of me has died. Like I'm not entirely conscious, but still conscious. I think I'm even having trouble with expression just from typing this out. Did I somehow develop an association with my identity from all the adhd thought patterns my mind would spew out 24/7? I always feel like I've lost large amounts of creativity, thoughtfulness, and intelligence from this since I use these traits vigorously in thinking. Now that I think about it, I feel like I don't even know how to think. I can relate to people who said they feel like a robot while on stimulants. Do neurotypical people feel like this? I just don't even know how to feel. Oh my god. Lack of intrusive and uncontrollable thoughts. I was able to think if I chose to, but I had to think about it. Usually my brain is on autopilot, you know, keeping me company whether I want it to or not. I guess I never had to manually think really. I'm so used to automatically thinking in 3 directions for my whole life and now it's just quiet. It'll probably get better in the coming days, but I always feel like I'm going to have to learn how to actually think like a normal person. Devoid of creative thought. I think that's the thing that really worries me. And I think I also attach a lot of like my personal, like the way I value intelligence is like very much based on how well I form connections between things. And I think like usually making those connections is so easy. Like I have like the frenetic energy of like a conspiracy theorist because my entire brain is just like all the time. So I think not having that like actual calm and that silence is so weird. I think for now I'm going to choose to enjoy it, but yeah, it definitely feels super weird. Like I'm really glad that there are other people who feel the same thing. My head is silent. What the hell? This is like when I was 9 and wore glasses for the first time. Is this how neurotypical we will feel? My head is silent. Oh my god. I found it kind of boring. I don't like the way I feel on meds. I'm glad something's working out for you though. I think for a lot of people, and I think for me as well, a huge deterrent when I first, you know, thought, gee, I should probably, I think, you know, when you're like 14 or whatever, you attach a lot of importance to being like depressed and deep, and you're like, you know, this is what makes me different from other people. Then after I started getting treatment for depression, I was like, I don't know why I reveled in that so much. And, you know, in fact, being depressed actually sort of numbed me and closed me off from like who I really am. I think it's really hard to sort of like, who are we really? And on top of that, it's like, I think ADHD is so new to me. I think there's a lot of processing that I still need to do as to like, you know, how much of my identity formed thus far is, you know, based on or based around all this untreated ADHD. And now that, you know, I have been diagnosed and I'm, you know, starting my treatment, my titration phase or whatever, to establish, you know, who I'm going to be from now on. And I think a big part of it is that I don't think ADHD is like even really a disorder or a deficit. I think it's more that it's like it's like with any disability, it's just like diversity in humankind, but because it doesn't happen to function particularly well with the world that we work in, you have to, you know, medicate yourself into something more normal. But that normal is, you know, it's like standardizing, and I think it's really disrespectful to the natural diversity that human beings have. You know, what can we learn from people who move through the world and live in the world differently, you know, rather than try and make everyone the same. But that being said, I live in this hell world, so yeah, and it's really, really hard. It was, I think it's important for me to remember how difficult it is day to day without taking medication, but it just feels like the extreme is so jarring. Like, shit. This person says, I began my medication too and I feel such a difference. Like all these ideas I have aren't just in my head. I actually want to get up and do things. I think that's an important thing to remember as well, because, you know, as much as, you know, one might prize creativity or this like endless, you know, explosion of thought, that what's the point of that if you can't action it and you can't do anything and you can't put anything out into the universe? You know, of all the things that I wanted to do that I couldn't actually follow through with or do in the world, you know, now I actually understand why I couldn't do those things, and why now I can maybe try to do those things. But yeah, I don't know, it feels like this really weird balance between like mourning a loss, but then also like acknowledging that things might be better now, and that there is, you know, a chance for me to harness my potential and live up to my potential, and I don't know, like be the person that my parents want to be. It's just bizarre. Oh, here we go. Afraid of the idea of having a quiet mind. Have you ever been home alone and had a house all quiet? The TV is off, no radio or fan, just quiet. You're there just basking in the peace. And then the fridge compressor switches off. There are noises in your head, well beyond the ideas and thoughts you can witness as they flit past. A background din that's been there your entire life. A quiet mind not only takes you to a place that is locally peaceful, It is globally peaceful. I can't really tell you what it's like because I've no frame of reference until I experienced it myself. The above analogy is the best I can do. Trust me, a quiet mind is a remarkable thing. You suddenly realize that you've been playing life on hard mode the entire time. Yeah. Oh, this person was diagnosed when they were 39. It took about 2 weeks to get past the new experiences and actually reflect on where they were. In that I was sitting with my kids, they drifted off to sleep. In that quiet of the night, I realized for the first time that the only thoughts I had were the ones I chose. Thoughts flowed smoothly and without interruption for the first time in my life. It was startling, at this moment of realization that the cafeteria noise in my head was not normal. The ideas don't go away, they just don't trip over each other to get out. Words come more easily, social interactions are less bewildering. It's like I was rediscovering the entire world with fresh eyes. Hello friend, had my first quiet mind day a couple of months back, and it was so astonishing I probably looked quite out of my mind. Managed to walk through the grocery store not thinking about anything except being present. It's not that you lose your thoughts, they're all still there, but they're controllable, and instead of being constantly drowned in the rush and static of constant side thoughts and observations, you're plopped into a canoe on top of it all. The observations that normally rear into your head and take up all of your awareness are just quietly noted. Still present, but not so noisy. Instead of seeing the world half distracted, half muffled by your own brain's flood, everything seems crisper and your thoughts feel more distinct and individual. I was more creative and more productive with a quiet mind, because instead of floating sideways and up and backwards at every new possibility, I could focus on one thing, on this one neat thing, and expand it and make it blossom with more related creative things instead of skipping around to another new project entirely. This is really comforting to hear because, you know, I'm sure that the thoughts will come back. I think it's just very strange to have a quiet mind. I really don't know. I was like, when if anyone ever asked me to describe myself, one of the words I use often is like noisy. Like I'm such a noisy person. I think in terms of like my personality, like I'm really loud, I'm really hectic. Like I've got a lot of like I don't know, weird energy. And I don't think anyone would ever describe me as like quiet or calm or peaceful or, you know, focused or any of those things. And I feel like my energy often stresses me out a lot. I think it's that transition phase, right? Like, you know, when I first started taking antidepressants, and I was like, oh my god, I'm losing my personality. Being depressed and liking heavy metal and Warhammer 40k is like the only thing I have going for me. And it really is. I have like zero personality. I'm so boring. But you know, like when you attach so much importance to this thing that you're afraid of change, and you're afraid of like losing that thing. I feel like so ashamed that things that come so easily to other people seem so impossible for me. And it's like that thing where it's like, everyone else can do it, why can't you? And I'm like, yeah, why can't I? What is wrong with me? And I'm just feeling like pathological, like what the fuck is going on in there? I think it's a huge relief to know that a lot of that is ADHD, but I think another huge fear of mine is like, what if there are just some like bad personality traits that I have that have nothing to do with ADHD, and I'm just like a shitty human who's bad at stuff? Like, what if I'm, you know, well medicated and everything, and then I'm just like a terrible person? Like, what if all this stuff that I used to think was my fault, and now I'm trying to hold on to this lifeline of it being ADHD, turns out actually to be my fault after all? Like, what if then I have to take responsibility for it? What if it's something else? Like, what if it's not ADHD and I'm just like bad at living? What if I'm just like bad at everything? And that frustration and that shame and like feeling stupid and lazy and incompetent and all those things, like what if all those things are actually just real, and the ADHD is like, you know, it's arbitrary in terms of its impact? I don't know. Like, and I know that just, you know, taking medication isn't going to fix everything. Like, it just makes it a bit easier to steer. But I still had to do the steering, you know, it's not a fix-all. Like, you know, you don't just take antidepressants and wake up every day like laughing. You still have to, you know, build in those good habits and do all those things to, you know, make yourself better. Like, you can't just rely on the medication to do the work for you, because it can't. And in the same way, like, you know, Dex won't build me new neural pathways or just make it slightly easier for me to do it, but I still have to do it. I still have to do those things and build in those patterns and behaviors in my life. And I think I'm afraid that I can't do that, or that I won't be able to. I feel like I'm afraid that I'll like lose a huge part of myself that I relied on for my self-worth and sense of, you know, everything. All ideals aside, it has been so hard to live. And yeah, I guess I feel kind of vindicated that there's so many things you just like learn to live with. Like this is the allegory, I guess, that I've been using to like try and explain ADHD to people, because I feel like it is something that's like kind of hard to understand, and I also didn't really have a good understanding of it until like, you know, like last year, because again, it is associated with just like teenage boys like punching walls and stuff, and I'm like, well, I didn't do that. I did great in school, you know. I don't like run around bashing my head against poles or anything. I'm totally normal and fine. But that just, you know, betrayed my very one-dimensional understanding of like how ADHD manifests in certain people. Yep, so I have a really bad mosquito bite allergy, and my sister and my dad have the same thing. So what it basically means is that when we get bitten, it blows up to like this big, and it gets really hard, and you can like see all your hair pore follicles, and it goes like really like dark and full of blood, and it just stays like huge and hard and swollen and super itchy, and you feel kind of like feverish and like faint and like just all around terrible, and it lasts for like a week, and I just thought that was normal because my sister got it, my dad got it, and like, you know, they were around, so sort of like proof like, oh, this is just a normal reaction for people to have. Oh yeah, and I think people never really understood why I had such an aversion to getting bitten. Like other people would be like, yeah, mosquitoes are annoying, until like my best friend at the time was like, oh yeah, oh, it's so annoying I got bitten, but it's okay, I'll go away by tomorrow. I'm like, what do you mean mosquito bites go away overnight? Like, I've never heard of this before in my life. And that was when I realized that my reaction to a mosquito bite was absolutely not normal, and that I've just been living with that. Because like, I know everyone hates mosquitoes, but I didn't realize how bad I had it. Like, yeah, so now I know to treat it properly, like it's an allergy. Like I take an antihistamine, put an X pack on it, the whole shebang. Whereas before I was like, well, this is just normal. This is just how everyone feels. And it's the same like whenever I felt like unproductive or unmotivated or disorganized, or I couldn't like control my finances or my workflow or anything, you know, I'd watch these stupid like productivity hack videos, like, and these self-help things on YouTube, and then be like, why aren't they working for me? And it turns out those things must work great for like someone without ADHD, but if you have it, you can't game your way out of it. Like, like obviously having good habits and eating well, exercising, seeing your friends, waking up at the same time every day, all those things definitely do help. And, you know, I try to do those things just to manage, you know, like depression and anxiety and stuff. But, you know, if you think that those things will help you with ADHD, they're really not, because ADHD isn't just about making happy chemicals in your brain. It's something dopamine frontal lobe. I don't know, like when my psych was telling me about this, I tuned out because I wasn't on the medication at the time, because she hadn't prescribed it to me. So I don't know how she expected me to listen to that. It was like a 45-minute long call, and she started talking to me about like neurochemistry, and I was just like, It's like, do you know your clientele? No, she's great. Yeah, but yeah, I think she was trying to make it really accessible and easy to understand for me, but I didn't get it. She just said that my creative energy was like Niagara Falls and Dex is like a dam. So I just had that visual in my head. Like that my brain is just like gushing art juice or something. Anyway, might take a final top up of Dex for the afternoon. It is so dark in here. And I hate having the lights on, sorry. I might take my final dose of Dex for the day, because I'm meant to have 3 a day, 4 hours apart, I think. The fact that I can remember that is a testament to the fact that it works. I feel pretty good about the tasks that I accomplished today, so I think pretty good for day 1. Excited to try again tomorrow and keep building those good neural brain paths. But yeah, I think, okay, I need to top up for sure. I've like lost it now. That brain's still empty. Oh good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to figure out like how to sort of level out so that it doesn't go. But yeah, I'm gonna take my final juice and maybe enjoy the rest of the evening by actually, I don't know, like doing some exercise or reading a book or something like that. Because that's the thing, it's like ADHD prevents me from doing things that I enjoy, not just things that I hate doing. Like, yeah, I haven't done my tax in years because of ADHD, but I also haven't been able to read a book, and I was a lit major. Like, I fucking love books. I used to be able to read really fast, and I would read a lot every day. And now I just can't. Like, I can't do anything. Like, I can't even like watch a movie or a TV show. Even like the standard like 20-minute episode, I'm like, this is pushing it. Unless it's like 20 minutes total and then it's like actually credits at either end and then it's like around 16-17 minutes, then I can probably hack it. But yeah, and even then I have to be like on my phone or like doing something with my hands. It's extremely bad. Especially because I kept trying to like, I don't know, watch things or, you know, do things that didn't involve using my wrists so I wouldn't get like freaking RSI, but then I always had to like be using my hands for things. So yeah, okay, maybe it is good that I am on medication. So overthinking it, don't overthink it. Anyway, well, I really don't know what this video was meant to be about.